Prem Sampati Mahadeva ki Jai. Shri Ram, everybody, and welcome to our second night of Shri Ramayan Katha. Ramayana Yagna being done at the Shri Krishna Seva Ashram together with Pandit Keshava Gosine. You have asked for tonight, last night, and tomorrow night as we continue in singing the glories of Maryada Purushottam Prabhu Shri Ram. As I stated last night on our first night, we have embarked on 3 sessions in this week to share with you virtual, across different medium, as we are getting set for the inauguration of the Ram Janam Bhumi Mandir, which is found in Ayodhya, India. That is going to happen on the 22nd of January, and Hindus are going to welcome Shri Ram into their homes on this night, collectively, global. It's being called Global Deepavali, or Global Diwali, as we say locally in Trinidad, more so in the Western Hemisphere. If Diwali be the return of Shri Ram from his time where he is lost, where he is in exile from the citizens of Ayodhya, those that grew to love him, cherish him, and they had to do for this period of time without him. When the Babri Mosque was created, where once stood this original Shri Ram Mandir, for hundreds of years, Shri Ram could not be worshipped in that spot. It was for a different religion. It was there from reminiscent times of the Mughal dynasty when they invaded India. Till today, there are many places, such as where Lord Krishna was born, where masjid was built, where temple once stood. Not to cause any conflict, but to know our history. It is important to know that when you have your identity and you value what you have, it cannot be lost. It cannot be tossed aside. Tonight, as we continue in our katha, last night, just to recap, we started off for these 3 nights, because there are three nights we are doing this week, next week, following week, just to finish just before the 22nd. Last night we did Aranya Khan in Valmiki's Ramayana, not Tulsidas Ramayana, not Adi Ramayana, not Anand Ramayana, none of these things that we've touched on before. Tonight we've touched on, last night we touched on Valmiki's Ramayana, and we continue in that. Valmiki is the, let's say the father of the Ramayana. He's a very, ancient person. This is not written in Kali Yuga. This is written in Treta Yuga. Bear that in mind. Sometimes when we read Ramayana in Kali Yuga, we tend to think that this was, earlier in this same age. It wasn't. This is very old. And there are many different types of thoughts, things that that you would have found coming out in Upanishads as Krishna is there, and subsequent ages would have been passing, that would have been developed. Remember, this is written before Gita exists, before Mahabharata exists. To put it in a timeline in your mind, Shri Ram existed. He walked the earth prior to Lord Krishna. So in that time, in those times, there would have been different schools of thought. And when we listen to Ramayana, we don't just listen to hear a story. Last night we were hearing about the initial engagement between Ravan and Sita Mata. We heard how he thinks Ravan, that is, how he comes close and he gets angry, because we live in an age with all the information at our fingertips. But instead of getting closer and more knowledgeable of our text, it seems as the warnings about Kali Yuga is happening before our very eyes. People talk about the degradation of the lifespan of mankind as a major part of this age, the degradation of the species of animals and plant life, the flora and the fauna, being slowly, one by one, they're being replaced and not replenished. They're dying off, they're going extinct, and they're not coming back. There is prediction about waterways and water courses, rivers drying up, never to be replenished. And these things are happening. We understand the degradation in the environment for those that are interested and with eyes to see and to feel the weather, the temperature, the height of the water, etc. Like in an island like Trinidad, where there was once vast amounts of coast and shore and beach, water is right there now. And scientists will tell you that the water level is rising. Hinduism saw these things and prophesies that in the age of Kali Yuga, these things are going to come. But the one thing that could save the person is their God, their knowledge of God, their reach, that in hard times, bad times, troublesome times, tumultuous times, the person trains herself. Why do we sit down and listen to the name of God? We listen to it so that the name of God, chanting his name, recalling, remembering, these things have a way of burning away the sin that causes the trouble. What's the big deal with the sin and the karma? The karma is the root cause of all the bad things that happen to good people. Baba, I go to temple, I sit in mandir, I light diya, I do job, and still things are happening badly. Truth is, we are all sinful people, and we've come upon this earth to experience karma. And we would have done bad to reach here. As the Chopai says, it is a great thing to attain the human body, because not only of the fingers and the appendages, but because of the type of knowledge and we're not ruled, as we'll hear tonight, we're not ruled by the season. We are not ruled by the limitations of the, unconsciously we do things. We could consciously make a decision. The concept of God, the idea. Have you ever thought about this? That one of your strengths is to think that there is something bigger, more than you. When somebody, for example, tonight as we're talking about the name of God, if somebody had to say, I've listened to so much Ramayana discourse, I've listened to Ramayana Katha, TV shows, so on. One of the names you come across for Shri Ram is Maryada Purushottam, Shri Ram, Prabhu Shri Ram. And it is indicative. Tonight, at the very onset of our satsang, let's go over that name. Purush means man. Uttam, Purushottam. Purushottam. Uttam means the highest, the first place, the best of man, the best man, right? What it means, Purush means man, Uttam means, to put in an example for children to understand. We all go to school, and as a teacher, you tell your students, try your best. As a parent, try your best, babe, I go understand. And somebody will get 56, somebody will get 87, some people will get 92 with a lot of effort, a lot of trying and studying and struggle. Mankind does that. Purushottam is the person who comes highest of all those that are trying. Uttam, greatest man, first place. Maryada means the person who goes beyond the best man. Maryada means the person who has, without effort, he supersedes the person who has fought, struggled, fight to achieve something, and without effort, does it. Maryada Purushottam. And an example of this, when we hear in Sita Jayanti, when Sita Mata Katha, how she came, why she came, so on is being discussed, we hear a lot about this bow, this bow that Lord Shiva gives to Janak, and Janak says, the person who could lift this bow, my child could lift this bow, she could play with it, toss it and play with it like a toy, and you can imagine it's lying on the ground in the prayer room, and then if she wants to play with it over here, she goes, and so on, so forth. So the father says, you know what, if you are capable of doing this, I am not. The person who is fit to be your consort should be able to do the same. So it is said that the person who could mount this bow, you have to pull now. For those archers amongst us, you have to pull the weapon, because we want this cord, the string, so stiff. It's not just take a piece of cord and tie it there as we do as children when we're playing bow and arrow and these things. This very stiff material has to be bent with a lot of force. And you have to be careful because it could snap back into place. And the person who has to string the bow has to pull it down, and this string has to be very strong, as you could imagine, to withstand the pulling, the potential of this bow to snap back into place. And then with the stretching of with the arrow for it to recoil and shoot the arrow with that kinetic energy. All the different animals, bull carts, different things, we are told, tried. When the time came for the Swayambar of Sita Mata, they tried all their best. Even Ravan goes and he tried to even lift the bow. So much effort, mankind, different big crowns, big land, small kingdom. They're trying and they're putting a lot of effort and they're struggling. And then Purushottam, Shri Ram goes. And he lifts the bow. Lifts first place, already. Because nobody else couldn't lift it. Maybe it nudged, maybe it shifted. But in your mind, see the lift. And everybody, you could imagine the father who was becoming despondent. Well, nobody married my child. Well, nobody liked my girl child. Will my girl child remain? You could imagine somebody who was, in this case, let's use the word a contest. Think about the heart of this man. And the contest is, you have, by winning this prize, you have earned the opportunity to marry my daughter. My daughter is of stature and caliber, and she's so valuable. I'm sure one of you guys could win her hand. So this is the contest. But if nobody is fit, my daughter will have to remain in my hand. And the father is getting worried. He's becoming despondent. He's dejected. And then Shri Ram, 16 years old, goes up, holds the bow, and lifts the bow. When he lifted the bow, imagine in the heart of this father how, without breath, without breathing, holding on, what is going to happen next? Is he going to be able to string it? I don't want to have hope, false hope. Will he be able to bend now what nobody couldn't lift? Maryada, in this example, when he's trying to bend the string, breaks the bow. Imagine me and you couldn't lift the bow. This fella, without effort, lifts the bow, string, and then breaks without trying. He did not go there for that. But Maryada is when he attains and he goes into this mode as if he is beyond human. It is as if in his acts, in his deeds, and this is just a very snippet, it is a summary of a Leela, a part of the Ram Leela. It is as if the person, imagine me and you were sitting in the audience when this was unfolding. And we saw it happen, and you and I just tried to lift that bow, and I swear I couldn't shift it. I couldn't get it to, to tilt. Now this little boy, imagine no muscle, imagine no strength, no how much, shraddha and prayer and all the different things Ravan would have done to get power, the 10 head and the 20 arms and none of that. And he lifts the bow and he breaks the bow. In that moment, even Valmiki is in awe because he sees the super example. We all have God in us. Think what I'm saying, eh? We all have God in us. We all have godly qualities. Godly qualities, have you ever heard somebody sing and you're wondering how did they sing so nice? Like an angel singing. Have you ever seen somebody, a child who couldn't learn the maths, pass the maths? Wow. Have you ever heard a child stand up and eloquently speak and you're wondering who teach you that? Wow, God is working. God is here. Wow, I'm seeing a miracle. God works the energy, the Brahman that is within everybody. Everybody could display God-like qualities. But when the man now goes into this superhuman, moment, when he really could not hold back, and there are many instances of this, when he could not hold back because it's done without effort, and you're wondering how is it possible? In Achauba, he says, I take form for the benefit of the animals, for the devatas, for those people with karma. as a man. He does not say that, Shri Ram is not coming as this super divinity, but he's coming as a man, so he cries as a man. He gets angry last night when he's holding the arrow over Jatayu. Is it that he didn't know the heart and mind of this devotee, this king of the vulture? And in it, if we are reminded that, yes, there was the point when Narad Muni gives him the shrap with the monkey, when he made Narad Muni in Vishnu Bhagwan Katha, he gives him the monkey face. He says, you will go upon the earth and you will lose the one you love, just as you made the one I loved, laughed at me and lost. You will lose that person, and you made my face look like a monkey. You will depend on an army of Vanar or monkey, Homo erectus, as we said last night. There are different people were praying for them to have a child like Sri Hari Vishnu, and he says, I will incarnate as your child. So there were different things that predestined this Ram avatar. But in it, as he's interacting with birds, as he's interacting with the boatman, as he's interacting even with the Dhyanavas, as he's interacting with Shabri, as he's interacting with Ahilya, there are so many people that are benefiting from this form. But is it the Shankha, Chakra, Gada, Padma, 400 form of Lord Vishnu? No. He's taking the energy into man form. And in one or two moments, you see these superhuman, super godly moments, like the breaking of the bow, that the person sitting in the audience has to wonder, how did he do that? How is that possible? And there now, with that type of thought, these moments serve to inspire. Is it true? Is it real that a person, there is a form, there is something, an entity that is greater than myself? I thought I was the great. Last night we heard about Ravan, and we heard how big, when he's speaking to Sita Mata, he speaks about how big his city is, and he's the half brother of Kubir, and how he took the Pushpak, the Vahan, and he's lifted the earth, and he's lifted Mount Kailash Parvat, and he did this, and he did that, and so on. When I think I am super, and I am great, and then in the moment when you're tested now, Ravan couldn't win the hand. He couldn't lift it. He got in a huff and a puff and he left. In those times when the Swayambar of Sita Mata and Shri Ram was being done. Tonight, I'm stressing on the name of Shri Ram for your concept, simply for your concept of God to grow. If you've never thought about what I'm saying about the lifting of the bow, think about it. In everybody's life, there are challenges posed by that same God. Remember, we belong to Sanatan Dharma. Sanatan Dharma, or what we call loosely as Hinduism, does not have the concept of a devil. I said this in temple the other day. I myself say it sometimes. Boy, when you see them kind of thing happening, the devil busy. The devil busy. Coming from Christianity, where the devil brings bad and the God brings good, or does good, or cause good to happen to us. But in Hinduism, it doesn't have that. With the concept of karma, we are truly the makers of our fate. When we do bad, bad will come. When we do good, good will come. And that accountability, the person has to restrain their inner, when people talk about Sato, Tamogun, and so on. You have to ascribe to be better so that you could achieve betterment. But when the God calls good and bad, and then you see in this moment, maybe for example, just an example, the car was coming to me, Pandit, and it was imminent. I was going to die. Pandit, we get into the accident, and if you see how the car wrangled, mangled, and twangled, but I walk out of the car. Look, earlier this week, we had where in Japan, the plane collided with a Coast Guard plane, two planes on the tarmac. And luckily, by the actions of the air stewardess, and for all the stewardess working, God bless you, in 90 seconds, hundreds of people were pulled off of that plane, coordinated, and their training snapped into action. Quick thought. And every single person was spared. On the other plane, however, 5 people died. When a moment, imagine the families. Imagine just for a second, a plane burns to singe, the pitch. The plane is gone, burned down. Crashes into another plane that are on the ground. They don't crash in the air. And everybody is saved somehow. The car, everybody walked out. And it make you wonder, wow, I didn't do that. I was totally not in control. I had no way of saying which way the car would flip and go, or when the car would stop flipping, or if the door would open, if we would have gotten out in time. Somebody held my hand and said, come. In these 2 examples, real life, I'm sure when you send me a message this evening, you could tell me more. Let me ask you tonight. You're looking on and we're talking about Maryada Purushottam. Has Shri Ram lifted the bow in your life? This is where you start to take it home now. Do you have the vision, the drishti, vision? Tonight we're going to talk about drishti. To see God work the magic. Remember, as I said, there's no devil in Hinduism. What we have is God. God is in charge of everything. Everything comes from God. When you do good, Shri Ram rewards. Mommy's happy with you today. Did you get A in the exam? No problem. Mommy's going to light the candle and blow the cake. Don't make the lady happy. And the same lady could turn to Kali Mata and want to beat you with the belt, or curse, or quarrel. Say mommy. When mommy does that, mommy's a good mommy. Mommy's a disciplinarian. Mommy is doing her duty. Mommy will get salvation for doing her duty. Mommy is doing her job. Same mommy. One way, next day a different way, depending on what you and I do. So mommy will react. Likewise, the Hindu concept of God is that God is the judge, like a parent, truly like a parent. And depending on what you and I do, then God will react. God will put things in place, maybe for you and I to learn a lesson. What do you beat or admonish when you call the child, or you raise your voice? Or I'm not saying to beat children, but discipline needs to be instilled, whichever way you choose. I leave it to you. But I grew up in a time where ringers, a little clout, definitely belt was the way, depending on how hardened. But discipline is there. If you choose to follow, happiness, easiness, blessings. If you choose to ignore and do your own thing, we know what happens. And likewise, God puts hardships. God puts these moments, these testing moments. But who is going to get you out of it? Put back yourself in the delivery room, mummies, and the baby come in, but doctor say not yet, and the suffering is on. Your child is gasping for breath on a ventilator, and everybody telling you, don't worry, he'll be okay, but you have seen that. Your belly can't stop ringing. The person is sick. And I'm so helpless. I'm putting the medicine. I have the money in the account. But at the mercy of the Lord. In that regard, we come like Janak. We have everything. And yet still, we are helpless. Hopeless. And you need somebody to come and lift this burden, this heavy bow, and manipulate the situation to bring joy, happiness, and hope sometimes in your life. And when sometimes you get away from the car accident, the sickness, rather than just move on, move forward, forget, go forward. Whilst I'm not saying to hanker on every single hurtful thing that happens, sometimes you have to admit to yourself in your prayer and build this relationship with Him. I saw what you did. I saw what you did. I saw you save me. Thank you. If it's just thank you. Tonight I am, encouraging. Thank you. And with that gratitude, your spirituality grows because your relationship with Madhyada, greater than the best guy. I don't know how else to put it, but for you to get the concept of who he is to you, this power that we are referring to is not limited to only Ramayana Katha, lifting that bow, fighting Ravan. But really, Shri Ram starts the fight here. You are introduced to him. But he fights the battles in your life as well. If only you know him. It's one thing to know where the switch is to put on the light when you need the light. And another thing, knowing that the house have electricity, it have all the light, but I can't find the switch. Many people find themselves in darkness and they really wish I could get light right now. I would see where to put my foot. I would know what to do. But I don't know where the switch is. I don't know where this thing, this entity, that if I activate it, will bring all the light that I need. Hinduism celebrates light in every example, in every discourse. Diwali, the lighting of the light that removes the darkness, the ignorance, the removal of ignorance. I don't know what to do. I do not know God. I do not know his name. I do not know his glory. I do not have faith. You don't have faith because I'm a stranger to him. So the person lights the lamp in their heart, in their life, in their head with the lamp or the matches of knowledge. When I know him, Gita tells you that. It's good, your mother teaches you to offer the dar, so good, you're doing it, good. Better than that is to know it, to have the gyan, to have the sankhya, to have the knowledge about why we do what we do, how to do what we do, etc. Tonight, as we continue in chapter 56, we're in Kishkinda Khan of Valmiki's Ramayana. Tonight we'll do 56, 57, 58. We are going to go beyond where we had left last night. Last night we had completed the Jatayu. Where we left off was the entire Leela, where the dialogue between Ravan and Sita, it was more extensive than what we are seeing in the cartoons and what children are led to believe. And we heard of how Jatayu is called, the 5 people that Sita Mata asked for help. And Jatayu is summoned. As she's passing, she sees him and he goes, and the dialogue between the demon and Jatayu, ending in a fight, ending in, Jatayu is the king of the vultures and bird life, and he's cut. His wings are cut off, his feet is cut off, and he's bloody and falls to the earth. And mother embraces this bird as if this person is a dear relative. Fast forward, after Ravan leaves with Sita Mata, Jatayu, clinging to life, waits for Prabhu Shri Ram, because Sita Mata's prayer was, I am going, I'm being kidnapped, but make sure and tell Shri Ram where I am, because he will not know where I was taken to. Jatayu in the lap of Shri Ram is given the moment where Prabhu is playing with his hair, the feathers. And in that moment of solace, Jatayu stretches out his feet and the body gives up the jiva. And Shri Ram talks highly of him. He says, one of the lines that stood out to me whilst reading it, he says, the pain of losing Sita does not pierce me anymore. In fact, losing this person that would sacrifice their life for me, for my mission, for my motive, I grieve more for this person. I put him on equal status with Raja Dasrath, his father. And as a result of that, he sent Lakshman to get wood. They created the pyre and they did the cremation. Now imagine Jatayu is so great in Tulsidas Ramayana. He emulates Jatayu, makes Jatayu a big thing. And all that we are reading about Sampati tonight, the brother of Jatayu, in Valmiki Ramayan's chapters, in Tulsidas Ramayana 1 or 2 verse, the same discourse. He's not dealing with it as much. Sampati to him does not have the value that Jatayu, the one who gives up his form, gives up his body for Maryada, Purushottam, Shri Ram. And last night we stopped where they had made the pinda from the roots of a tree. he makes pinda and he offers it, and he does tarpan in the Godavari river on behalf of Jatayu. So blessed is Jatayu. So when you go to India and you see different moments where Jatayu in like sculptures and statues, huge monuments for Jatayu. Here comes this personality, this persona that with love got to do so much seva for Shri Ram, that he was able to have, not only is the person's soul going to merge with Prabhu Shri Ram, or Maryada Purushottam Shri Ram, or Krishna as we call him, Vishnu Bhagwan. Vishnu Bhagwan incarnates to help him attain that mukti, that liberation, that moksha, where he is merging oneness into the Brahmana, the energy, never to return. So Jatayu is something that we wish we could emulate, and we continue from that perspective as we will pick up tonight in Kishkinda Khan. What is happening here? Let's say our prayers tonight, and then we'll continue as we hear what is going on, where we enter from Aranya Khan, we're jumping to Kishkinda Khan. Prem se bolo Sampati Ramachandra ki jai. Everybody, please draw your hands tonight as we enter with mantra. Om Gajananam Bhutaghanadi Sevitam Kapeta Jambu Parchar Bhakshitam Umasutam Sho Kavinashkarakam Namami Viganeshwara Padapankajam Sarvamangalamangaliye Shive Sarvartha Sadhike Sharanye Trayambike Gauri Narayani Namostute Nagendraharaya, think of Lord Shiva. Nagendraharaya Trilochanaya Bhashmangaragaya Maheshwaraya Nityaya Shuddhaya Digambaraya Tasmai Nakaraya Namah Shivaya. Together everybody. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Rama Rama Bhadrama Ramachandraya Vedase Raghunatha Nataya Sitaya Pataye Namaha. Think of Sita Mata. Rama Priya Raghupati Raghurai Vedahi Kirat Gai Charana Kamala Bando Shiranai Siya Sura Sari Sab Papanashani Janaka Dhulari Raghav Pyari Bharat Lakana Shatruhan Vari Divya Darasonopji Sita Mitaleshwara Bhayo Nehan Atita Siya Rupa Bhayo Manava Ati Rachayo Swayamvar Janaka Mahipati Bari Shiva Danu Kinchay Joyi Siya Jaimala Sajihe Soi Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurur Devo Maheshwara Guru Sakshat Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Umapati Mahadeva ki jai. Pavan Sutta Hanuman ki jai. Shri Adi Shakti Mata ki jai. Vrindavan Bihari Lal ki jai. Satya Sanatana Dharma ki jai. Sharanam. Tonight we enter into chapter 56, as I said before, Kishkinda Khan. Ramadutaya Vidmahi. Let's chant Hanuman Gayatri. Last night we did Ram Gayatri. And ask yourself, are you a stranger to this Gayatri? Shri Ram Dutaya Vidmahi Vayu Putra Dhimahi Tanno Hanuman Prachodayat Tanno Hanuman Prachodayat Ramadutaya Vidmahi Vayuputraya Dhimahi Tanno Hanuman Prachodayat Tanno Hanuman Prachodayat Upavishtastatute Sarve Yamsmin Manapriya Girisnan Talhe Hariyo Girirajascha Tam Deshamupate Chakraman Sampati Niragunanam Tu Chiranjeevi Bahugaham Bhrata Jatayushah Shriman Kiya Batavala Purusha Ramadutaya Vidmahi Vayuputraya Dhimahi Tanno Hanuman Prachodayat Tanno Hanuman Prachodayat. Shri Pavanaputra Hanuman ki jai. We enter here. What is happening? Shri Ram, in making friend, in listening to what happened after Jatayu, as he was guided by others to go and make friend with Sugriv. To show that friendship, he helped Sugriv first. So Vali is destroyed. Sugriv is installed as the king of Kishkinda, that state, that area. And Sugriv says, in return, I am going to send my horde, my army, to find Sita. And he sends some of them in this way, where they are now. But in chapter 55, they have become very despondent. Hanuman is guarding Angad, the son of Bali, who was deputed by Sugriv to lead this contingent that were further southward. And now those where we are entering, they have been given a mandate of 1 month. Sugriv says in 1 month you have to find Sita Mata. And they looked in caves and so on, and they couldn't find her. And Hanuman, in the previous chapter, Hanuman is trying to encourage Angad, don't give up, why are you giving up? And Angad is telling him that in trying to do all that we were told to do, we couldn't do it. And now we have made up our minds to entertain a vow, rather than fail Shri Ram, rather than go back to Sugriv and he kills us, it is better we die. It is better we do a fast and give up out of starvation. Excuse. Out of starvation. It is better for us to die here and now than try to go back and plead our case to Raja Sugriv. As this conversation was happening on that plateau where all the monkeys were resting, a huge vulture is in a cave and he comes out to hear them talk. This vulture is Sampati. And when he comes out and he sees all the monkeys, he says, by some act of fate, karma has afforded me food in the shape of all these monkeys. This is ordained for me. After spending so much time here, I have been hungry. I shall successfully eat each one of these monkeys that are sitting here in a line, and they will fall dead. They are going to starve, but now I will be able to live. When the bird uttered these things, although they were now making preparations to kill themselves, to give up this birth, they don't want to be eaten by this great bird. Angad speaks to Hanuman. He says, look at how Yamraj takes form. Look at how karma, fate is being untold. I only now said it is better for us to die, for us to go to the land of Yamraj by starvation, rather than fail Raja Sugriv. And look, Yamraj has taken form, the son of Surya Narayan Swami. Yamraj, god of death, is taken form bodily in this region, right here where all of us are. So sinful we are, that the purpose of Shri Ram cannot be accomplished. The purpose of Raja Sugriv cannot be accomplished. It is better for us to die. Now look, we are going to be in this situation where we are going to become food for this vulture. What a calamity, Hanuman. But it is our fate. It is for us to now endure this pain. Umapati Mahadeva ki jai. He says, look at the service. Now imagine the bird is standing there for children. The bird is standing right there. Monkeys, Hanuman and Angad. Angad again is a prince. Angad is the son, the nephew of Sugriv. He is the son of Bali. Angad is speaking. Hanuman is listening. But somebody also listening on the side. Sampati. The service that was rendered by Jatayu for Prabhu, Shri Ram, the vulture obliged the cry of Sita and fought on her behalf. He interceded in the moment with Ravan. This has been heard by you many times, over and over. We have been talking about this great moment, and we want to be like Jatayu as well. All living beings wish they could be a servant of Prabhu Shri Ram. Subhuman species like us, like birds, we wish we could attain a piece of what Jatayu did. Laying down his life if it is necessary, but the work of the Lord must not be abandoned or, out of cowardice, run away from duty. Look, bound by love and compassion, the Prabhu of all, that Lord had to manifest on this earth to receive Jatayu. Do people truly render good? Slok 10. O Hanuman, do people render good to other people like that? Is that human? Is it possible for one person to do good for another person? In your life, just a pause, in your life, I'm not asking if people do good for you. Arguably, any devotee here in my own life, you would have people who have done amazing acts, people who have lifted you in your most depressing moment. In the doldrums of life, there are people that have the innate ability to still give you an ebb of hope, especially in your darkest moment. And then it have some people that bring it down to the worst. But do you do good for other people? Just a question. God be the judge. Based on what we were talking about, God is the judge. For karma, good, bad comes from God. God be the judge. But in your own opinion, if you were to look at yourself tonight, based on the words of Angad to Hanuman, do people render good? Do good seva, service, help? Is it possible to really see somebody help somebody else the way Jatayu did? Is it that he's an oddity? Is it that he's just one, or he's one of those? And in a sense, I'm asking you, are you cut? Are you cut from the cloth of Jatayu? Do you work? Do you serve your God? Are you Ramadut? What is Ramadut? Dut. Dut. Padma Sevanam is form, a form of worship where you worship the feet of God. Dut is when I am a servant of God. So Ram's Dut, Ram's servant is Hanuman. So Rama Dut is another name for Hanuman Baba. Are you like Hanuman Baba? Or is it that you cannot do good for other people? And we become Ravan. Dear God, you work for me. God give me. God help me. Constantly give me. I will give you flowers if you could give me. Flowers, give me. Flowers, give me. But when God gives, do you, whether it's your mouth, a kind word, a helping hand, thought even, maybe I don't have much, but I could volunteer to help that person. They're in trouble, they're in difficulty. You never know the burden of another person. He says, is this possible? Is it done? We have tried. We ventured out on this difficult road for the sake of pleasing Shri Ram, that scion of the Raghukul. His family is great. And we feel thoroughly exhausted, but his work is not done. We have not found out where Sita is. And even if we finally take leave of our body, would it be the same as Jatayu? Or would it be we have absconded our duty, derelict our duty? Have we abandoned Shri Ram? Blessed is that vulture, blessed is that bird, Jatayu, because he was slain. Imagine Sampati is standing right there. So we have to know who Sampati is. Jatayu was slain in the battle with Ravan. And in that moment, he got rid of all his past karma by this one act. Imagine, let's say we go to Yamraj and all our bad deeds and good deeds are being weighed, and we have so much bad deeds that we have to be born as a vulture. We have different predicaments, different problems. We hear that he was living for how many thousands of years last night in that discourse, and then one act so supersedes all the bad, it outweighs all the bad. And he does this act of trying, of interceding, hearing the squeal of the goddess. And in that moment, he removes the burden of his karma, negative karma. Although he's the overlord of all these subhuman creation, he has attained the highest state by the grace of Shri Ram. These monkeys are suffering, Hanuman. They are in danger here. Look, this vulture is talking about eating all the monkeys. Death is here, death will come. But will they get Jatayu's type of death, or will they get a coward's death, a sinner's death? Through the death of Raja Dashrath, the destruction of Jatayu, the abduction of Sita, and the words, the request of Shri Ram, Sita Mata is lost in the forest, and all the destruction of Bali encompassed by the arrow of Shri Ram, all this that is happening, the demons that have to be exterminated because of the wrath of Shri Ram, all this is happening. All this evil has to be brought about because of one boon that Dashrath gives to Kaikeyi. But look at us. We are suffering. We do not get to serve him. We are this close. We are this close. We engaged, we left, we embarked upon the mission. But will we be able to be successful? God gives to us many gifts. God gives to us many attributes, many strengths. But will we use those attributes to attain greatness or great things? Will we be able to rise? because of the blessings of Maryada Purushottam Prabhu Shri Ram. How will you use the strengths, the buddhi, the bal, the vidya that God give you, the strength? You know what you are. Rather than bhari chest, I am the best singer, I am the best pundit, I could sing the best chaupai, I could beat the best drum, I could beat the best dance. God bless you with that. Will you use it for the purpose it was given? Is technically what Angad is saying here. Things unfold in our lives. You know, we have minds that are made like monkey, jumpy, and helter-skelter. The analogy is so wonderful. And when hardship comes, then you take stock of your life. And then you realize it have great people. People who are Purushottam. People who, when the test came, me and you get 56, but other people get 97. And you wonder, wow, how did he get 97 marks? How did Jatayu do so good in the test that when Shri Ram calls on him, when Sita Mata calls on him, he is able to perform without a second doubt. But you and me, maybe we would have afraid the knife. Maybe we would have run from the demon. Maybe we would have said, well, she got dead. He got get an ex-wife. Maybe we don't perform as good as others. Maybe all this, we have found ourselves here, oh Hanuman. Imagine when you say in your prayers, I don't know how you pray, but when bad come in my life, when sisters and them had the trouble in their life, in the job, in the marriage, with children, you name it, they have children, I don't have children yet, and their fight is my fight, when the cold and the fever riddling these children. And you sit down to talk to your Hanuman, how do you talk to him? When trouble, when predicament comes, when things unfold in such a way that Ravan visits your home and he takes Sita, your Sita is your, let's say, your peace of mind in this conversation. Let's just say it's symbolic of that. The peace of mind is robbed. And you have to go and talk to Hanuman to give you back that solace and that peace of mind, that peace, that ability to sleep when the night comes, the ability to rest, to smile, to truly smile, and to be happy. And how do you talk to your Hanuman? Do you talk to your Hanuman? For many people, they don't. Many people think, okay, Jai Hanuman Gyana Guna Sagara. I am singing a song that I do not know the words. I do not know what it means, but I'm singing it because it looks nice. Makes sense. Trouble don't take a holiday, but somehow we take a holiday from praying. Please don't make that mistake. Learn in this example. This is just an example of how Angad, you're lost. I don't know what to do. And death is imminent. It's standing right there. It's right there. Not one day, it's right there. And in that moment, he goes to Hanuman and he's talking to him for solace, for guidance, for a way out of the predicament that we sometimes find ourselves. Imagine these little monkeys, their lives are being impacted because Dasrath was in love with Kaikeyi and he was so infatuated on that battlefield. One day I'll read that katha for you. I believe it's in Adabhut or Adhyatma Ramayana. When the history of how Dasharatha gives that boon to Kaikeyi. He is so infatuated with her beauty, but she's fighting like a warrior. And in that moment, he says, for saving me, anytime you ask for this boon, and she says, I will use it when I'm ready. Because of that, watch how fate unfolds. Today we are dying. Meanwhile, bewildered to hear what these two monkeys are talking about. Listening to them, he missteps and he stumbles. The intelligent who? Sampati. Sampati is the brother of Jatayu, elder brother. Who are these people? We're going to hear about that. He took a very piteous tone. Now he's not hungry. Now he's not the... Last time we heard about the talons of I say Arjun, Jatayu, ripping at the back of Ravan, ripping into his flesh. These claws of this vulture are so powerful it is made to rip at flesh or where it feeds. Tonight, now he's not talking about eating again. Now he's very lifeless. Now he has lost the zeal because why? Hearing the speech that escaped your lips, young one, pointing at anger. From the sharp beak of Sampati, he spoke the following words, squealing, "Oh, brother," with force. I'm on a mic. I wish I would. I could. Who is proclaiming the death of my brother, my baby brother Jatayu, who was dearer to me than my own life. You caused my heart to tremble with this heart-rendering news. How did this happen? How is it that this vulture, this king in Janastan, you said he fought with Ravan? That demon? Tell me, how did this happen? This name, Jatayu, I have not heard his name. I have not heard somebody say his name for so long. It has been many days since I've heard my brother's name. And what fate, the day I have to hear it, it is his death news. It is the announcement that he is dead. Why is he so moved? For those of you that know Ramayana, and for the younger ones that I'm teaching you for the first, or you're struggling to remember this. With your help, I wish to come down this citadel, this peak. We're on a mountain, a flat point in the mountain. I need help. I'm perched here, I've been here, and I can't help myself. I am highly gratified and with praises I've heard about my brother after so long. I appreciate the virtue with which you associate my brother. I listened to how you, Angad, spoke about how he was magnanimous, how he was brave and valorous, not knowing my relation to him, my brother. It is such a blessing to hear somebody talk about my brother good. Thank you for that. O leader amongst monkey, I long to hear about the destruction of that Jatayu who lived in Janastan. How did Raja Dasrath, a friend of that same Jatayu, Dashrath and Jatayu, remember Jatayu is very old. Last night we heard it. Jatayu is very aged, and this is why Ravan was able to overpower him at the beginning of the fight he was doing. But as you know, it wind on, remember he's flapping. Ravan doesn't have to move his hands, he's flying, they're in the air, and this being is flapping, and he has to use his feet to fight and the beak to fight, but his arms are flapping. And after all that exhaustion, he got weaker, and Ravan used his sword to slice. And when he sliced the arms, he couldn't fly, and then he went down and he took the foot, and then he cut the beak. In that order. How is it? Who Dashrath's son, his eldest son, Shri Ram, favorite of all his elders, how does Dashrath meet his end? My wings, dear Angad, my wings have been scorched by the rays of the sun, and I cannot fly anymore. I wish to come down from this hill now, tamer of all the foes, Mama Guy, sweet talk. Now he's talking with a different tone. Oh, powerful young person, oh, powerful youth, valorous youth, I need your help to get me down from this hill. I can't do it myself. I am now an invalid. For every person, last time we were talking about, you know, people, he said it, that this valor that Jatayu displays, selflessness, sacrifice your life in pursuit of innocence and virtuous action. Only according to the caste system, only the Kshatri had that valor, that strength. It was part of their religion, their dharma. But this subspecies, vulture, less than human, he had that valor. Wow. And Shri Ram nurtures and caresses, and he identifies the greatness in this lesser than form. So when you and I judge people based on caste and based on creed and race and religion, God is the judge. As we enter into chapter 57, Ramadutaya Vidmahi. I want to be Ramadutaya, Ramadutaya Vidmahi, Vayuputraya Dhimahi, Tanno Hanuman Prachodayat, Tanno Hanuman Prachodayat. Sarvata Prasad Senanang Yadhino Bhakshayasmiti Kritakritya Sarvesham Bhesham Shipra Siddhi Meno Gatah Ramadutaya Vedmahi Vayuputraya Dhimahi Tanno Hanuman Prachodayat, Tanno Hanuman Prachodayat. Siyabhar Ramachandra ki jai. Even after hearing the words of Sampati, whose voice had turned full of grief in this moment, hearing about Jatayu's death, the generals of the Vanar army, the generals, who are the general people like Jamant, Angad, Hanuman, other people, Nal and Neel and so on, they did not put too much faith in this vulture. He just said he wanted to eat all of us. He just said he was starving. After so long, he haven't gotten food, and he wants us to come close to hold him. If he destroys the stronger ones, when they come to hold him, then the meeker ones, the smaller in stature, size, they will be overrun. This could be a ploy. We are very suspicious of this. And they were very concerned. Seeing the vulture in this way, the monkeys, led by Angad, for their part said that you had just said you were starving. Let's hear what they tell him. Ramadutaya Vidmahi Vayuputraya Dhimahi Tanno Hanuman Prachodayat Tanno Hanuman Prachodayat Bhabhu Varksharajo Nam Vandrendra Prataye Pavan Mammarya Partaye Vartabhyakshi Dharmi Kauntasya Chat Murcha Ramadutaya Vidmahi Vayuputraya Dhimahi Tanno Hanuman Prachodayat Tanno Hanuman Prachodayat. The horrid idea that you would eat us up. If you eat us up, who? We were going to fast till death. Our purpose will be attained. Having, with speedily success, this act of giving up the birth because we have failed in our mission. Sampati says, friend, that is not my intention. But what brings you here? Who are you? What are you doing here? tell me, what is all of this? And Angad speaks. Raja Rajas Jagata Ishwaku Maharata Ramo Dasarat Shriman Prishto Dhandak Nama Lakshmana Saha Bhratra Vreda Saha Sarjan Bharayaya Pitur Nedesha Dharma Patham Ye Shrunuyam Tasya Bharaya Janasya Stana Ramadutaya Vedmahi Vayu Putraya Dhimahi Tanno Hanuman Prachodaya Tanno Hanuman Prachodayat. Siyabhar Ramachandra ki Jai. All those monkey leaders came closer and they made the decision to help the vulture descend the mountain. But before they did, Angad started to speak. He says, listen to who we are and what we're doing here. There was once the lord of the monkey, Riksha Raj. Riksha Raj had two sons. He's my grandfather. He's my Aja. He has two very pious sons, Bali or Vali, Sugriv. These two are sprung from his loins. Both possess great strength. Initially, my father, Raja Bali, was well known for his exploits, sovereignty over the earth. Great driver of chariots and war. We come from the line of Ishwaku, and the son of that late Raja Dasrath, who had died, the glorious Shri Ram, who was wholly intent upon carrying out the command of his father, had taken to the path of virtue. He had been exiled per this boon that he has given to Kaikeyi, Rani Kaikeyi, Queen Kaikeyi, that he be exiled, self-exiled to the forest, the Dandaka forest. He brought with him brother Lakshman and Sita Mata. She is a great princess from the Vedaha territory, and they got married, and now the three of them were wandering the forest. At this time, in that place of Janastan, Ravan abducts the spouse of Prabhu Shri Ram. The king of the vultures, Jatayu by name, he intercedes on her behalf. And when Ravan jumps into the air with his vehicle, the Pushpak, using all forms of mysticism, holding Sita as a kidnapped victim, as it were, Jatayu being the friend of the son of Dashrath, Ram, goes to fight for the princess, and he destroys the bow, the arrow, the chariot, the canopy. Different things are happening, causing Ravan to use other weapons, other vehicles, etc. He fought valorously. He fought bravely. But as time is passing, he became very exhausted because of his advanced age. And in this way, Ravan is able to overpower him in combat with a sword and severs the wings, causing him to become terrestrial, causing him to become grounded on the earth. Then when he took off his feet, meaning just the foot, he couldn't move, and then he sliced the beak. Evam grudaha tasnen ravanena valisva sankaskritascha piraman janama gita muktamam ramadutaya vidmahe vayu putraya dhimahi tanno Hanuman prachodayat, tanno Hanuman prachodayat. In this way, the vulture was killed by that said Ravan, who was superior in might, who was young. He's young. and he's powerful. He's powerful. And having lost his life, no, what happens to him? What happens to him? His final rites, he dies in the lap of Prabhu Shri Ram. Shri Ram goes on to do the final rites. He cremates him and he takes out Pinda and he does the Antishti Sanskar and all the Sapinda and all the different rites that are associated with this final moment. Shri Ram afterwards makes an alliance with my uncle, who is now crowned by his efforts. Sugriv is an outcast himself, and when they came together, Shri Ram destroyed my father, Bali, and puts Sugriv on the throne. And there now to respond with this friendship, he deputed these teams to go in different regions and search for Sita Mata. But my dear vulture, we could not find Sita. Just as anybody cannot find the sun, the word he uses here in Slok 13. Just as a person may search, but they will never find the luster of the sun in the night, without any hope, we could not find her. Having explored the Dandaka forest most carefully, we, however, penetrated every single gaping hole, cave, and every chasm. We looked, and there was no sign, no way we found her. Scouring all the caverns, those constructed by, there was this demon named Maya, different places, different temples, different villages we've been looking, and it seems as if we couldn't find her. And then the timeline, that the mandate that we were given, the month, it slipped past us. Having exceeded that time limit given by our king, we had now made up our minds to starve ourselves to death rather than to go back and face Shri Ram, that scion of the Kakushta lineage. To face Sugriv. With Lakshman being angry, we don't want to face Lakshman when he's angry. And there is no hope of survival for us, even if we return to Kishkinda. This is what we are doing here. This is why we have come. Oh, dear vulture, we are very hopeless. Tell us, what is your story? Tell us, you said your wings were burnt. You said you are the brother of Jatayu, but you are the elder brother and he is the king. How is all of this possible? Please tell to me. Please tell us. We want to know. How did you end up on this Vindhyan range, this mountain region? How is it you're here? If we had to help you come down, how did you get here and how did you eat? So many questions are being posed. Ramadutaya Vedmahi Vayu Putra Dhimahi Tanno Hanuman Prachodayat Tanno Hanuman Prachodayat It Yuktah Karuna Vyaktayam Vanad Stitam Yajivantav Sab Pashtov Vanaragrihataha Pratayu Vachana Mahasnena Yaviyana sa mama bhrata Jatayurnam Vanara Yam Kathyam Ita Yudhavravane Valiyasya Brithayate Puru Vritha Vritasa Chatram Cha Jaya Sheshtam Aditya Adaitya Muphaparswo Jwalantam Rasmi Malini Namyate Ramadutaya Vedmahi Vayu Putraya Dhimahi Tanno Hanuman Prachodayat Tanno Hanuman Prachodayat Siapati Ramachandra ki jai Pavana Sutra Hanuman ki jai. He says, young one, O great prince, having heard your story, and your despondency, your dejection, I am motivated to tell you my story. Pitiful are your words, O Vanar, but hear of my plight. Hear how my life has turned out. Now his eyes filled with tears, and he speaks to them with a loud, thunderous volume. He was my younger brother Jatayu by name, who you are talking about dead or killed by the hands of Ravan. He was superior in strength. He was stronger than me. Due to old age and loss of my wings, I forbear even on hearing of his death. I have no more strength left in me, separate only to hear about this enemy of my brother. I only have the strength to pass on this information. I am lifeless right now. In many, many years before, when Indra destroys the demon called Vitra, that demon is significant. In different Puranic texts, we hear that this demon is ferocious and very bad. And Indra has to make weapons from the bone of, I believe the Muni is the Dichi. That these bones were, his blessing was that his skeleton was online with adamantium steel, unbreakable, hardest known to man. So he uses the bone and destroys the demon, but at the end of it, he inherits the sin of Brahmatya, because he had caused the death to a Brahman, practicing Gayatri, living the life, etc. As a result of that, the amount of sin, when people are doing Bhagavad after Bhagavad, as we will be doing here in the Shri Krishna Seva Ashram, we are going to do Bhagavad for 7 consecutive years, God willing, God permitting. When people have to do these things, they are using karma, positive karma, to eradicate the past negative karma. And the scale again, we are trying to do like Jatayu, do good acts so that it will counteract the bad that we are all being affected by. In our life, we are seeing bad times, hard times, because of the bad we have done. And when you want to overcome it, you engage in good and godly acts. So we are doing this. He says, at that time, when and why is it significant? The sin was so bad. He says, I share this up. I did this not only for myself, but I share it up with trees. Trees had the total sin. The sea had the total sin. The human race had the total piece of the sin. If you ever hear that it is inauspicious, it is not done, that you use trees for Hawan. Last time we talked about building the pyre. Trees that leak milk, or it is running the fluid from the xylem saps and so on, the sap from the tree. You don't use that for Hawan. It is not fit. The sea is not used for certain rituals, such as Murti Visarjan, like when you have to take bath for wedding or for sanskar purposes, like when you have an Antishti and you want to take bath for the Dashgat, or what we call the Bhar, or the 10 days, you don't go by the sea, you go by the river. And another example of where a portion of this sin went, this is where the female inherited the menstrual cycle. There are many in the history of why this menstrual cycle is given the connotation of sin. It is attributed, the history of it, the advent of it is because of this sin. And because of that, there's a negative connotation to it. When some people say that it is natural, it is not natural for every walk of life. In total, in the creation, I think there's a bacteria and two other forms, fourth making human. I'm subject to correct on if it's 4 or 3 forms of life that have a menstrual, where the lining of the uterine wall is being shed. Dogs, kittens, lion, tigers, bears, they don't have a menstrual cycle. So the uniqueness of this system and the regeneration of the system was firstly brought about when Indra destroys this demon. and it is very significant. It affects us till today. When that had happened, we rushed to the heavenly region to do battle, in the battle that was waging at that time. Jatayu and myself soared with inordinate speed to break free of the earth to make it to the heavenly regions. But at one point, we had to turn back. The onslaught of the energy of Surya, seeing our Father coming. Key point. Our Father coming, we had to turn back. Who are these vultures? Who is their father? The history of Jatayu and Sampati. They come, Muni Kashyap, son of Brahma, is Kashyap. Kashyap has a wife named Vinata. Vinata is the mother of Garud and Aruna. She laid 2 eggs. And from those 2 eggs, one brother, Garud, the Vahan of Sri Hari Vishnu, and Aruna was his brother. And you know him, when you go home, when you're watching at home, go find your Surya Narayan Pitye or your Surya Murti, the person holding the reins of the horses in the chariot. You just see his head and his little body. That is Aruna, brother of Garud. He is also a great, although he looks human, he's also a great bird like Garud. Aruna is significant because he also does not have legs. He's also specially abled. From Aruna, he married Sneni. Sneni is the daughter of Daksh. This is their mother. And what Sampati is saying, 2 brothers getting ready to go and fight battle. Aruna, the charioteer of the sun, is coming, bringing Surya Narayan to do his diligence. And the scorching rays of Surya Dev. Now we are not protected by any layer of gas or air, what we call atmosphere in today's world. With our knowledge of going into space, the different stratosphere and the different levels, as we'll hear more about that tomorrow night, there was nothing blocking the intensity of the solar energy hitting our body. Jatayu starts to turn as he faints. And when I saw him faint and he was falling back to the earth, because of the areola of the sun and the solar flares, the solar energy that was beating our body, I grabbed as I rushed to him, and I grabbed his body. See it in your mind, eh? And now the person is lifeless and they're falling, and Sampati wraps his huge wings around his brother, encasing him within the safety of his shielding body, to shield him from not only the physical lash of the fall, but the onslaught of the tormenting rays of Surya. The burning that was caused by my wings now being exposed. My wings were permanently damaged and burnt out of affection for that little one. You are telling me he's dead? That little one, he was supposed to die that day. And Jatayu, I saved him then. My wings were totally burnt. I dropped as our bodies separated. I dropped down as I fainted in the Vinda range, in this mountain range. And I don't know where he fall. It's only later on I heard he was in Janastan. But we were separated and I couldn't reach to him. And we lived apart. I lived on this mountain as I do now. But I never got to see my brother again. Prem Sampati Mahadeva ki jai. Narayanaya Krishnaya Paramatmaya Namo Namah. Jatayu Shesha Ye Mukto Bhatra Sampati Netada Yuvrajo Mahaprajaha Pratayuva Chadang Sada. Narayanaya Krishnaya Paramatmaya Namo Namah. Jatayu Shoshya Dibrata Shrutam te gatim tam maya aka yahi yadhi janasi neelam tasya rakshasi ye yah narayanaya krishnaya paramatmaya namo namah. Vishnu Bhagwan ki jai. In this way, Angad, listening to the brother of Jatayu, that prince, for his part, replied to Sampati, if you are the brother of Jatayu, and if you have listened to what I said to Hanuman a moment ago, say now if you know the abode of that demon Ravan. If actually you know that short-sighted, vile demon, if he's living near, if he's living far, please give us your information. You who have been living here on this hill, perched for so long, if you know of him, if you are so old and you know everybody, if you know about Dashrath, if you know about this one and you know about that one, if you know about Shri Ram is not a stranger to you. If you know everything, brother of Jatayu, if you are a reflection of your brother, if your brother has the same gene pool, if you are both the sons of Aruna, look at the family you're coming from. Garud is your uncle. He is chosen. He is chosen to become the vehicle of Lord Vishnu. For those of you looking on, especially on Sankhya television, when and I'm just summarizing the katha, when Garud is born and he has to free, his mother is trapped as a slave, and he has to free her, the serpents, the snakes, they tell him, if you go and bring some of the Amrit, when they turn the ocean, Lord Vishnu, let's say he's locked it away in his special place, if you go and steal because of your speed, Garud, if you go and steal some of that Amrit and you bring it for us, we will free your mother, we will release her. And Garud is going bent on getting that Amrit, stealing it from where he has to steal it from so that he will save his mother. Lord Vishnu, realizing who he is, he appears to him and he says, what are you doing? And Garud says, I am going to steal that Amrit so that I can free my mother. He says, do you intend to drink the Amrit? He says, no, it is not for me, it is for them. They require it. They want to become everlasting. He says, okay, I will allow you to take the same pot that the demons and the devatas fought for when Rahu and Ketu were formed. That same pot, with Mohini was sharing the fake one to the bad guys and she shared the good one for the devatas. That same Amrit. I will allow you to take the pot. Don't drink any of it. But when you rest it down by the serpents, by the nagas, take it up and bring it back. By delivering it, you will get back your mother, but you will not allow them to use it. If they become too powerful, this universe will have a problem. Garud, not understanding who he is talking to, the true form, the true nature, and this is why Garud is always learning about Lord Vishnu. The entire Garud Puran is asking Prabhu questions as he wants to know more about God and his work. Garud is the one who goes and he gets it. And a significant portion is that when a little bit, as he did it, he brought it, he rested down, Vinata is freed, and the serpents were about to lick with their tongue, as they are always hissing with their tongue. A little bit as he snapped, imagine I snatched a goblet of water, a little drip had dropped onto the kush grass, and that was right there at the time. And the kush grass becomes immortal. And when the tongue of the serpent trying to lick the little bead on the grass, as he did that, it cut the tip of, as per the discourse, it slit the tip of the tongue of the snake. So the snake has its respiratory organs and its ability, because it doesn't have a lung like me and you. It depends on the hissing, and that's why the snake hiss. And the little bit, it seems as if from prehistoric times come down snakes in different species, in different forms, different size, venomous, non-venomous. They are always there and have always been there. And this is one of the reasons why because they were able to come in somewhat contact with this Amrit. Garud from that day, he becomes the Vahan and vehicle of Lord Vishnu. So in this moment, he says, Angad says, look at the genealogy of your family. That is your uncle. Aruna, who is stationed when in the Western world we talk about the how you call it, the ozone layer. In Hindu texts, the back of Aruna, the charioteer, watch your Murti, you'll understand what I'm saying. He has a different Vardhan to block the true hit of the solar power, the true destruction that energy would give. What the wife of Sir Narayan could not tolerate. Aruna protects everything in this creation. He regulates how much solar energy is coming out. He says, look at your genealogy. He says, endowed with all this energy, your brother was able to do that. A vulture whose wings have burnt, the other one, the good one, the virility of his body is gone, old age set in, so he's lost everything. Oh monkeys, Sampati is talking. He says, oh monkeys, I want to render service to Shri Ram like my brother. I want to be a Sevak. I heard you talking about how you want to engage. You want to do Seva for Shri Ram. I know about Shri Ram. I know who he is. And I want to serve him. And if I have to serve him through your service, if through only speech, if through only my words, if only through my guidance, I could serve the Lord in his mission, then let me do it. I have knowledge of this world long before you, long before Varun took the different shapes he have as the continents are forming. I saw it unfold as I sat here. So much time has unfolded in front of me. Janam after Janam, different forms of life came. Trees grew from seeds into mountains and then fell to the earth. From a grain of sand to a mountain and then fall to the earth. The land structure changed in my lifetime. I was here and I could measure when Lord Vishnu took the dwarf avatar in those inordinate, superhuman proportions, Maryada, beyond the concept, beyond the ability of human beings, beyond the ability to think. When the person sees elephant head, human form, when the person sees blue form, beyond the concept, beyond the reach of the human imagination, beyond the reach of the human mind, half man, half woman. When people say there is only one way for somebody to be, God says, I am beyond that. Without effort, I will take a form. I will act in a way. I will be beyond what you could perceive, beyond what you could imagine. I am that. Maryada. I will engage in his service. I was there. I saw when the conflict between the Devatas and the demons happened and they started to churn the ocean. Little one, you only know of stories. I know my life. Even though my energy has been snatched by old age, my vitality is ebbing. This errand that Shri Ram has put you on, it is by his will you have met me. And by meeting me today, his work will be completed, but it will be completed because of my words and my guidance. He says, so powerful is his will and his reach that even now he is helping you. Weren't you just despondent? But in the old saying is, when God can come, he will send somebody. In this case, he sent a vulture. He sent a man. Taruni Rupa Sampatha Sarpa Bharana Bhushitam Hringmana Maya Drishtva Ravano Durrak Manave Kuro Shanti Ram Rameti Lakshmaneti Cha Bhimni Mi Bhushana Ye Nipapar Vidhyayanti Gayatri Yeni Vipalayanti Sarvaprabhav Narayanaya Krishnaya Paramatmaya Namo Namah. Narayanaya Krishnaya Paramatmaya Namo Namah. Narayanaya Krishnaya Paramatmaya Namo Namah. Putro Vishwavasya Sakrada Brata Vishwaravanasya Yecha Adhas Nagari Lanka Ravano Nam Rakshas Itau Dvaipanya Samudrasya Sampurna Shatasho Yojanaya Lanka Puriye Ramba Nirmitam. Narayanaya Krishnaya Paramatmaya Namo Namah. Narayanaya Krishnaya Paramatmaya Namo Namah. Narayanaya Krishnaya. He says, you know how happy I feel that although who am I cannot lift a sword. I cannot fight like Jatayu. I cannot wage war on behalf of him. But God has still seen it fit. A foolish person, a weak person, an invalid, somebody that others will watch and pity me and think that I am less than. My Prabhu has given me an opportunity that I can ascribe, that I can attain the the Maryada, the Purushottam. My Jatayu is my Purushottam. He did this high grade, and I could reach that at high performance in this test, in this exercise that you have engaged in. Now I have a way to play my part to help. How? I saw a lovely, young, richly endowed, very beautiful young girl being toted away, and she was crying, Ram, Ram, Lakshman, Lakshman, and she was dropping ornaments, tossing them from her limbs. As she's fighting and she's wriggling, I watched it all, and she was borne into the air. I saw that evil-minded Ravan. I know him. And in her exquisite red robes that she was wearing, that dark complexion ogress, that dark complexion person with his silky dhoti and all these other refineries, he was shining and reflecting the sun with the amount of gold and the gold chariot upon this mountain peak. It was like flashing of lightning from the solar energy reflecting off the gold. It was hitting me, and it caused me to come out from the mountain. And when I looked out, I saw them passing in the sky. And from the fact that she was calling the name Ram, Ram, I believe that to be your Sita without doubt. Hear now from me as I speak to you about who this Ravan is. He is the son of sage Vishrav himself, a great sage. Simple put, great sage. He, Ravan, is the half-brother. They share a father to that god of wealth, Kubir. Kubir is the true owner, the true builder of Lanka. Many people think that Lanka is built by Ravan. No. Lanka was inhabited by Kubir. It was built by Vishwakarma, the architect, the devta in charge of building the beautiful things in this world and life. When you lift a flower and you see the symmetry of how God put the petals equally placed, perfectly placed around, let's say, the middle, the dandelion, and the petals are arranged equally. The leaves are placed equally. Who does these things? Vishwakarma brings symmetry to the universe, and he fashions this city of gold for the god of gold, Kubir. But when Ravan comes, in those days, Dashanan, when Dashanan, the 10-headed one, when he gets his power with his 10 heads, some of this is from Ramayana or the Ravan Samhita. When he gets into power now and he starts to uproot and take hold of everything, he kicks out his brother from Lanka, takes Lanka. And how does he get that name Ravan? When he goes to take now, he wants to take Kailash Parbat. He wants to show Shiv Baba when he's doing Jata, he wants to do the dancing Shiva stotra. Up to now, we use that stotra. And he lifts Kailash with his hand. Parvati says, stop him, break that pride. And Lord Shiva put his toe, and Kailash Parbat squeezes his hands, and Ravan starts to bawl. Throughout the universe, you could hear him squealing. And that name Ravan was given because of this universal squeal. He is squealing so much the entire Kailash mountain range, not one mountain, the entire range, the weight is resting on his hand, and he's squealing so much they called him Ravan. Ravan now lives in that city of gold on that island where it is surrounded by the sea. In the south from here, he at a distance of 100 yojan. A yojan is Indian ancient method of measurement. 1 yojan is equivalent to 8 miles in our measurement. So 100 yojan, 800 miles. At a space of 800 miles from this place is Lanka, constructed by Vishwakarma. It is bounded by the gates of the Jambu Nada, or the Jammu River, where gold is coming out of the river. It is a place where gold is harvested. So it had a lot of gold for the city to be made and fashioned. This is why Kubir went to live there. Stately mansions and great terraces, everything is golden in that place, and it reflects the sunlight. In this place, the unfortunate Sita lives. Because of my vision, I can see at that distance, and I am telling you, she is there, clad in silk, confined to the place, the garden of Ravan, strongly guarded by female demons. There you will be able to see Sita, that princess of Mithila, daughter of Raja Janak, reach to the sea, and at a distance, that full 100 yojan, arriving there from that southern coast, you will be able to see Ravan for yourself, protected by the sea on all sides. Reaching there expeditiously, show your valor. Soon, O monkey, soon, go. I perceive through my intuition, my knowledge of my kind as birds, that the shortest flight is possible by the... Now listen to this part. Think about this. Me and you might go and study zoology to know this piece of information, biology, to know the study of animal life and their flight pattern. Hear what he says. He says the shortest flying bird is that of the sparrow and other birds that live on greens. The second, that flies in a little higher sphere, birds like crows that live on fragments of food, meal, such as also parrot, that subsist on fruits of the trees. They fly a little further. Basa, herons of spray, these take a little higher flight, a little longer flight. Hawks is the fourth type that fly a little higher. Then, whilst vultures take the fifth highest amount of wingspan and ability to fly, glide, because of their wingspan, without stopping, without resting, they are able to fly at a higher altitude for a longer period of time. Think about what I'm saying here. For those of you that know the kiskadi, those of you that know the hummingbird, those of you that know the brown and the blue jay, the different sparrow, the different things that exist in different parts of the world, compared to your to your scavengers that fly at a higher altitude. Tell me how a bird is able to list out these tendencies in this way without study of animal life. How a bird, subhuman species, knows this. Goes on. And he says, higher than this vulture, the sixth order, is the flight of the swan with the strength and the virility, with the strength they flap their wings. This graceful bird is second only to Garud as vultures themselves, but Garud has spiritual blessing and he is able to fly at bullet speed. He is renowned for his speed. When we call Krishna Murari, Murari is the Krishna who destroys Mura because of the flight. That is when you see the picture where Krishna is sitting with Satyabhama, when they go and they save the 1,000 girls and so on in that discourse. And Satyabhama has to sit on Garud, and in the blink of an eye, Garud reach from where he is to where he has to go. He is capable of these type of things. We claim descent, as I said before, from Aruna. So we have that blessing. We feed as vultures, we feed on flesh. And in this type of act, as vultures, we have been blessed because our prey is sitting at a great distance. Whilst the bird, such as the chicken, such as the one that lives on seed, they have the ability to see maybe to their feet, maybe to 3 feet away. The vulture has the ability to see up to 1 yojan, 800 miles at that distance. Think about what I'm saying. How does a scavenger, whether we call them vulture in Trinidad, we have the Kobo, how do they know? At what distance do they know that something has died? At what height? Think about how the vultures gather when a carcass in the forest, in the safari, something is alerted, and we see them and we say in the dream, in the signs of the environment, vulture flying, somebody is going to die, going to die. The sign of them coming close is death is coming. He says, because of this vision that I have inherently, I am able to see at a distance. I can see as I am looking at you, O Angad. I am seeing Ravan pacing that garden as he's coaxing and trying to coerce Sita into becoming more to him and less to Shri Ram. Because of the type of food that is ordained for me, cross that brackish salt water, cross the sea, and you will be able to meet with Sita and surely return to Kishkinda and accomplish your goal. Do not be foolish. Do not tarry now, my friend. I wish for you to accept my advice and make your way to the abode of Varun, where that salt water reside. And from there you all cross with your valor, with your strength. You are young, you are great. I am old and I am feeble. Else I would have done it for you. Is the intention here is to look at the details, slope to slope, to fill the gaps in the movie that is being unfolded. They meet this one, they meet that one. They are being sent on a journey and they are going, and it is happening, it is happening, it is happening. And as it is happening, why is it happening? Why didn't somebody else do it? Why didn't somebody else make this journey? Because he says, my duty is to guide you, to give you these words. Shri Ram cannot come. God cannot come in this moment to give you the little inspiration, the little nudge you need to fulfill, to overcome the next barrier. And this happens to all of us. We reach to a point and we're wondering what to do now, how to pass this exam, how to pass this driving test, how to overcome this virus, how to overcome this point in the marriage, how to overcome this hurdle with this child, how to do it. And through the lips of some goodly person that is willing to do good service, yeoman service, to help fellow man rather than pull somebody down, lift them up. And Sampati in this moment does it. He says, my words is my Seva to my Prabhu, Maryada, Purushottam. I have done what this body, this old frame, now no arms because of the singed wings, as he explained. Now I have fulfilled my moment. After sitting here for so long, listen to it, tomorrow night we'll answer more questions about Sampati. After sitting here for so long, after remaining here with these burnt and battered wings, lifeless, hungry, Today I have fulfilled my duty. I've been placed here by Shri Ram and I have fulfilled my duty. Go now and fulfill yours. He says, before you leave, take me to the water and allow me to offer tarpan on behalf of Jatayu, who has ascended, I am sure, without doubt. He has gone to Swarga. He has gone to that lok where he's one with God. And they actually hold him with reverence and gently take him with his burned wings from that region, that place where he was, to where the stream of rivers, not sea, rivers is running in the forest. And he offered with their help, with the wings that could not fly, he pulls the water and the bird is offering tarpan. Somebody says that this one couldn't offer tarpan, that one cannot offer tarpan, women cannot offer tarpan. I'll read it for you. There is a point of clean and unclean. Part of Hinduism, we are always doing rituals to become clean. But Sita Mata does offer tarpan. And who does she offer tarpan to? She does Pinda Dan, she does tarpan offering on behalf of Dasrat. Why, that's the discourse, just to jump your mind, for those of you that know your Ramayana. Why does Tulsi Mata grow in the drain and all in the odd places? Why does she grow all over the place? Because when the Brahman told Sita Mata the auspicious time is passing, the soul will want to go, and if this pinda is not offered, it will go without it. Sita Mata takes it up upon herself to offer the tarpan and the pinda and all this. The Raja Dashrath comes and he accepts the punyam, the good from this offering. When Shri Ram comes, Shri Ram says, she says to him, I did the offering, I did it. And he doubts. Shri Ram says, no, give me proof. And he says, Panditji, Brahminji, tell him now. Brahminji says a lie. He says a lie. And this is why, and this is a very, important point, salient point. His thinking, according to that Ramayana, is that if he says Sita Mata had done the ritual, well, he get one job, and that would be it. But if he says she didn't do it, Shri Ram will have to do it, so he'll get a second job. And in this way, he says, no, Prabhu, Sita Mata did not do the ritual, and she did not offer any pinda. Sita Mata, the goddess, the Brahman, the energy, the Prakriti incarnate, pronounces a shrap against all Brahman. And no matter how much work, no matter how much you have achieved, you will always be a beggar. You will always be running, toting siddha, doing more and more and more and more, more and more and more and more. And no matter how much you do, people will never see the value of your contribution. Similarly, she turns to different items. Tulsi is one, the Brahman is one. And in that moment, when eventually the truth came out from the Kalp Vriksh tree or the wish granting tree, where that tree gets the blessing from Sita Mata, the tree does say, Prabhu, Mother did do the offering, and that Jeev did come and get the blessing and then moved on. So it does show that there is a precedent for different forms to offer. The funny thing with this moment is, we like to banter that the human race is so superior, and animals act based on a dog, it would reproduce based on the season, the pheromones that cause them to act and react, to become aggressive, to run, flight and fright, kind of different hormones, and they do not have the conscious decision to really in their mind understand the concept of God, or that there's me and then there's greater than me, that I am not able to do everything. But here, this being is able to understand the concept of tarpan, mantra, and does it as a way to free the migration, to free up the soul in its migration. And they take him down and he does the tarpan, and they return him to that place, endowed with extraordinary energy, rejoicing now with this new information. The Vanar army moves on. Prem se bolo Umapati Mahadeva ki jai. Let's pause tonight here, and we'll continue tomorrow night or last night. Tonight, as we pause here, remember we said last night that the Vyas' job is not to break it down, to spoon feed. Yes, there's a point where we explain, but allow the person's karma to allow them to grow by listening, the art of listening, allow the imagination to develop, allow the person's spirituality to develop, the way one person will assimilate and understand and envisage and build the relationship with their God. I might give an analogy, I might give an explanation that may not be the explanation you understand, the interpretation that you understand, and it might be above your head. It might be below you. If I only speak like I'm talking to 5-year-old children in ABC Catch a Crab, then it may not apply. It may not be assimilated to you. You may not think this discourse is for you. This is for children. But when you within yourself and the God, the unseen God is saying, you know what, you went through something like Jatayu. God acted in your life. You're something like Angad, you were despondent and you were grieving. And the most unsuspecting person, somebody from a different religion, somebody from a different race, a beggar came. And this person that I really didn't think could help me, helped me with their words. You know what? I want to help other people too with my words. I don't have to not be Sampati, but I could be Sampati. I'm limited in my abilities. Maybe I don't have the cash to facilitate all the hampers to help people, but I could give a younger head based on my experience. I don't have to be the pundit. I don't have to be the vegetarian. Whilst we strive to be better, right now in your life, you could be Sampati. Existing within the confines of what God has given to you and I, words are free. Good words, godly words, good advice. At a minimum, you interpret this discourse to suit you. But in one way for children, let's give up the gossip, let's give up the negative, let's give up the foolish conversation, the wasteful time, and engage in words that lift people rather than break people. And in doing and fulfilling the mandate of Maryada Purushottam Prabhu Shri Ram, you will ascend and attain the highest of the high, just like Sampati, just like Jatayu, just like so many others. Tomorrow night we continue as we wrap up this little time we've spent on Jatayu and Sampati, these beings of Ramayana, these characters, these actors. And I hope as we wrap up tomorrow night, as we are spending time in Ramayana, as we are delving into our text, tomorrow night we are reaching to Hanuman. We are touching on Hanuman. We are getting there. And if you love Hanuman, you need to understand how we get there. Where we reach to Sundarkan in Tulsidas Ramayana, where Jaman says it's time for you to grow. How do we get there? You have to see the journey into Hanuman. Let's label that, journey into Hanuman. The end point is Hanuman. I achieve Hanuman. Tonight, could you become the Doot of Shri Ram? Could you become his servant? Could you emulate what you so love? You love Hanuman, but do you act like Hanuman? Do you think like Hanuman? Do you think like Sampati? Are you valorous in doing God's bidding like Jatayu? It's time to ask yourself some questions. It's a new year, and it is time for us to really gauge what we are doing. Prem Sabolosya Pati Ramachandra ki Jai. Please clasp your hands as we do a couple of verses from the Visarjan part. Last night I did a couple of verses from the Sumeran to reintroduce it to you. Tonight I wanted to focus on reading. Now we do Visarjan. It's time to conclude. Katha Visarjana hot hai, suno veera Hanuman. जो जन जह से आया है ते तह करो पयान. जय जय राजा राम की जय, लक्ष्मण बलवान. जय कपीस सुग्रीव की जय, अंगर हनुमान. जय जय काकबुसुंद की जय, गिरि उमा महेश. जय ऋषि भरद्वाज की जय, तुलसी अवधेश. कथा विसर्जन होत है, सुनो वीर हनुमान. जो जन जैसे आया है टेट कर भयान श्रोता सब आश्राम गए शंभु गए कैलाश रामायण मम हृदय महा सब करहु तुम व्यास कथा विसर्जन होत है सुनो वीर हनुमान जो जन जासे आया है टेट करो पयान. Couple of verses, it's saying that the Shrota is gathered in the ashram and they're going now. Shambhu is sitting in Kailash, listening to the chanting of the Ramayana. Ram and Ramayana live in my heart. Blessed is the person as we bow. Katha Visarjan, we're closing the Katha. It is time to resend the Devata. We call the Devata here to listen and to witness what we have done. And it is now time to conclude. Just as Hanuman listened to the chanting, we bow to Shri Ram, we bow to Lakshman, we bow to Sugriv, we bow to Angad and Hanuman, we bow to Kak Mushun, we bow to Uma and Shiva, we bow to Bharadwaj, we bow to Tulsi, we bow to Tulsi Das. Katha Visarjan hot hai, suno veera Hanuman. I hope you enjoyed your reading, everybody. I hope you enjoyed the Katha, and I hope you have learned from 56, 57, 58 chapters of Kishkinda Khan. These little discourses, all that we have discussed. I hope that you remember when you hear, and you're going to hear a lot more of it, Maryada, Purushottam. Please remember what that represents. Don't just banter that name. When you hear it, understand who Shri Ram is. And understand just by the example, Jatayu, Angad, Hanuman, now Sampati. And tomorrow we continue into more. I wish you well and God's choicest blessings. May Shri Ram enrich your life. And may He, when He can't come, may He send somebody to usher and guide you into happiness, into goodness, into direction of success. Tonight as we conclude, let's all join our hands together as we conclude our second night of Ramayana Katha. Tvameva mata cha pita tvameva bandhuscha sakha tvameva vidya dravinam tvameva sarvam mama deva Tvameva sarvam mama deva. Om, everybody. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Hari Om. Prem Sampati Mahadeva ki Jai, Pavanasudha Hanuman ki Jai, Shri Adi Shakti Mata ki Jai, Vrindavan Bihari Lal ki Jai, Satya Sanatan Dharma ki Jai. Jai Jai Sitaram. Sitaram, everybody, and please be viewing tomorrow night. Whether you're viewing me on Facebook, on TikTok, on WhatsApp, or on Sankhya Television. If you're watching us on YouTube, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Please send your comments and your good wishes, your blessings. I hope you're enjoying your Katha, and we have much more to come. Please send me a message. Please send Sankhya TV a message, so that if there's a Katha you would like to have, if there is something you would need answered, let's have a discussion so that our Ramayana remains vibrant and remains alive within us, in our heart. Let us internalize our Ramayana and let us really become the Ram Dut. Let us become the servant of Shri Ram once more, as our forefathers did. I encourage you all to join us tomorrow night as we continue in our satsang, our yagya. God bless you all. Sitaram. Jai Jai. Sitaram. Bye-bye, everybody.